How's it going, Devils Nation, Devils fans all across the world, wherever you may be, however you may be feeling? You should be feeling pretty good right now, I would think. We
Oh
are.
yeah,
I'm Drew.
I'm Owen.
We're a couple of brothers. Been Devils fans for most of all of his life. I've been a fan since I was 7. I was a bandwagon fan at first in '03, but we've consumed a lot of Devils hockey.
Hell yeah.
And I gotta say, probably the most exciting season we've ever been a part of.
Me for sure. I mean, I haven't seen too many good seasons since I was born. I mean, I really started watching or comprehending it when I was like 4, like 2012. It was the last good season I ever saw till now.
Yeah, I mean, we did pretty decent in 2018.
2018,
but
but-
that was all Taylor Hall.
Yeah.
So pretty much carried by one player. It was very exciting watching him take off. But as a team, we weren't all there.
We got depth now.
Oh, for sure. Depth coming out the wazoo. But so that's what we wanted to just cover today. Cover the first time. If we cover it another time, then we can recover it. But this is our first cover of the Devils 2020 to 2023 season.
Yeah, we're gonna be looking at like the players' stats, how many games they played, looking at how good they did, their expectations, how they related to the expectations. You know, I feel like I'm rapping.
And we decided, just for convenience sake and to have some structure for the video, we will be going by games played, from fewest games played to most games played. So we all know the guys that stuck around for most of the season, but there's a few Devils that you kind of forget about when you look back at the stat sheet. Kind of reminds you how far we've come just this season alone.
Yeah, so we're starting out here with Tice Thompson. He had 2 games played, 0 points, 0 assists, and he was a -1. That's pretty rough. His brother's doing pretty good in Buffalo, but I think he still has a future if he can grow. He's big, good two-way guy. I don't think he'll be a big influence on the offensive side. I think if it ever comes to McLeod or Halla moving on, then I think he can pump up and take one of those center spots.
I've still got faith in him. I'd really like to see him take off at some point. We'll have yet to see. I don't think he's going to get any time in the playoffs. So maybe next year he can get another shot at the roster full time.
He has it in his genes.
Yeah, I'd say he's got good family blood and just non-family blood. He's got devil's blood. Once a devil,
Yeah.
always a devil.
His
I'd
blood's on fire.
Oh, yeah. Next up, then,
Former Devil.
no longer with us.
He's
Still
he was-
alive, though, so don't worry.
He was pretty bad. Andres Janssen, 2 games played this season. Obviously got traded to San Jose for a much better player in my opinion. Same as Tice, like 2 games, no points or anything. He was 0. He did not have a -1, so I guess he was better in that aspect.
At least even.
Yeah, not too much to say about this guy. He was invisible out there.
Nope. Yeah. Went down to Utica. Didn't really stick with the Devils much this year. Had some good promise in years prior, I think. Just kind of is a tough roster to crack this year.
Oh, hell yeah.
And he kind of just got worked out by some of the younger guys with a little bit more potential and that were actually performing. So he was and I didn't miss him too much this year. I liked him last year, but I think it was a good call
To move
sending
on.
him down and shipping him away.
Yeah, it was taking up too much room for what he was doing on the cap aspect of things, you know. All right, and coming up next,
Luke
have-
Hughes.
4th overall selection, the GOAT's brother,
Only
obviously.
2 games, so this guy must not have done much either. I don't really know anything about this guy.
Point per game, give him the Calder right now. 2 games, a goal and an assist. First goal is absolutely electric. I mean, like, you gotta, like, that toe drag, just, like, walks right through. Incredible poise for his age, you know. Great celly.
19 years old. Man, he's got some room to grow.
Kale McCarr, part 2. Maybe.
Cale Makar will be Luke Hughes light when we're looking back.
Hell
on
yeah.
this.
Yeah, so very excited about Luke. Very big part of our team's future. And you got to think we still have Simon Nemec. He hasn't played a game in the NHL yet.
That is very true. Well, that is not true.
He has not played a game in the NHL.
Is that confirmed? Preseason, I guess.
Well, yeah, a regular season game.
Okay. Sorry. I saw him in a Devils uniform at one point.
Prospect
Memory's
challenge?
kind of blurry. It's a very up and down season, mostly up, but
Yeah.
we up. To Curtis Lazar, our fourth player. That's what we are up to.
Oh yeah.
And he is also at 4 games so far played this regular season. I think he is going to be a pivotal player in the postseason.
Depends if they get in from McLeod though.
I don't know. Right? It's nice to have depth. Someone's going to go down at some point. I feel like he is next guy up as far as the forwards are concerned. I think he can play a rough and tough style of game and be what the Devils kind of lack.
He's got so many hits.
Quite a few. What did he get in just 4 games played for the Devils this year? Let's take a look. Probably more than Hughes for the whole season. 14 hits.
Yep. 14 hits in 4 games.
Hughes had 12.
Yeah, Jack
I
had
called
12,
it.
So Hughes had 2 less hits than Curtis Lazar, and he played 70-something games. So
Yeah, they're both employed for very different reasons, so not completely surprised by that one. But it is very nice to have somebody willing to throw the body, and I think it's definitely very needed in the playoffs. Different style of hockey.
I really think it's if Lindy wants the gritty side, if we're going into say game 1 was gritty, it was tough. Then
Flyers didn't make the playoffs.
Okay.
Flyers didn't make the playoffs.
Woohoo.
I just love, or the Penguins, or the
Or Caps.
Capitals.
Yeah.
Sorry, just had to. We didn't make the playoffs for a lot of years, so
You gotta rub
I
it
might
in.
be gloating a little bit. But
But if the Rangers are playing a gritty style of hockey, and we need some more grit, if Lindy's willing to take out McLeod's face-off prowess for a few more hits on the down the middle, then bring up Curtis Lazar. You know, I don't think he's gonna produce much, but
no, but not a bad option. It's always nice to have different tools, different weapons, and he definitely provides the depth and gives Lindy a few more options going into the postseason.
yep, all those
Spent
weird
a lot
line
more time
combinations.
on Lazar than I was expecting.
Well, he's new. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess a lot of the fans might not know much about him, so never hurts to cover the new guys a little.
Former first-round pick. I think he was pretty high up in the draft too.
Another guy with a little bit of potential. Not quite like Lazar, but I'd say I put him in the same class as Tyce Thompson at this point.
Yeah, he's
We got Nolan Foote with 6 games played.
It's got a little more speed to him, a little more oomph. His shot is very underrated. I think he could get some scoring in that bottom 6 more than Holla. And yeah, he had a goal this season. He's +2, so the first plus we have in this board. Yeah, okay, I was right. Okay, and so I think he has a future. I think if Wood doesn't re-sign, then I think that spot is all his.
Oh, what do you think the odds are Woody resigns?
I don't know. I hope he resigns. I mean, he's my favorite player. I just get a jersey for him, but we only have 18 mil, and we got to sign a few guys. So I don't see Woody staying, sadly, but
Just a couple. But that's not what we're here for. Sorry
No.
to get sidetracked.
yeah, no, that's for another episode.
Then, another former Devil. Man, I really was very fond of his style of play. Rough and tough. Something we haven't seen in the Devils or just hockey a whole lot recently. But Nikita Okhotyuk.
Yeah, I mean, again, just like I forgot his name because I'm blanking. Just like Andreas Janssen, he got traded for Timo Meyer, but yeah, he was a big hitter. I'm not sure if he had much of a future with us because we have so much up and comers on that back end and young guys on that back end that are going to be here for a while. So
Like that new Luke Hughes guy. What was his name?
yeah, I don't know.
Dude only played
didn't look
2
pretty
games. Yeah. Why did he only play 2 games?
Next up, Akira Schmid. Someone I'm personally very high on. I think he's the goalie of the future. I mean, Vitek's, he's good, but he's so inconsistent. I just think that, like, Schmid's just going to be, like, as soon as next year, he could be the starter. He'd get more games than Vanacek.
Interesting. I still think Vitek's got another year or 2 as the starter. This is his first real full season, I would say, as a number 1 goalie.
Yeah, he's stuck behind Samsonov.
Yeah, they split time much more evenly. I think at the beginning of the season, the expectation was going to be Blackwood and Vanacek splitting time fairly evenly.
Mhm.
Or at least I think that's what was promoted or what was sold to the fans. That's what I was under the impression of. But pretty quickly it was VTech all the way, and do not regret that decision one bit. He deserved all the time he got.
He's a big part of the season we had.
Absolutely. Wouldn't have been the season that we had without him, I don't think.
Mm-mm.
Would not have gotten that franchise record 52nd win.
13 in a row.
Nope. He was pivotal, critical for all those.
Absolutely.
But we were talking about Schmid. We got carried away. I think he's got a lot of potential. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He will be, hopefully, a devil for the goalies for plenty of years to come and continue to grow. And what we've seen so far has been exceptional. And
Yeah.
I'd say at this point, he might not be number one, but he's going to be, and should be above Blackwood, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. 922 save percentage. That's pretty gross. It's pretty yucky.
Not too shabby.
Yep.
Then next, playing one more game, Schmid played 18. So actually, it seems kind of surprising. It did not seem like he played that many games to me. But we have Alexander Holtz at 19.
Yeah, I'm worried about Holtz.
His games were kind of forgettable. Maybe that's why
He's
it just didn't seem like he had reached 19 this
He was
season.
invisible out there. He was obviously nervous. He had the jitters. He didn't he got the puck and he panicked. And frankly, he's just fucking slow.
Yeah, definitely needs to catch up to the pace of the rest
Yeah.
of the team. I think maybe if he was playing in a different system, he would thrive a little bit more,
Islanders,
but
maybe.
it just seems like he can't keep up at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I'm low key wouldn't be too upset if we traded him. I mean, he has the value, just not fast enough for the transition game. You know?
I figured he would have been one of the trade pieces for Timo Meyer. That's
I'm
what
glad he
all
wasn't.
the media was saying, and I think it's what would have been the obvious choice. But I'm honestly kind of glad we did not, because I do think he still has plenty of potential and could go on to have a great career. I don't think it's going to be as electric as we
No.
initially thought, but I wouldn't give up on him
Wouldn't
completely
count him out.
quite yet. No, not at all.
And next up, we have the beauty that we thought Alexander Holtz would be traded for, Timo Meyer. He has played 21 games, and he has 14 points, I think, just off the top of my head. Yep. And obviously his scoring hasn't translated as well as it was in San Jose, but I guess you shouldn't expect that for a guy that really came from a slow system in San Jose. Everyone was sluggish. They knew they weren't doing anything. They were just waiting for Bedard.
When he was the guy in San Jose, now he's a little bit down on the depth chart as far as scorers are concerned.
Mhm.
He plays a little bit of a different role, and definitely he does the same things he was doing in San Jose. Does them very well. Plays a physical, hard
Sniper.
game. I love those wraparound goals.
Yeah.
Like, he just willed those, and he's got plenty of.
Good years.
Oh, I would say so. He's just now hitting his prime, I would say, and I would love it if the Devils could re-sign him.
I don't think there's any way we don't. There's no way we let him go. He's an RFA.
Very true. We still got team control. So if, God forbid, he does not want to sign, which I don't know why anybody wouldn't, the Devils are looking very hot right now, not just this year, but for seasons to come.
Oh yeah, he's also playing the opposite wing that he was in San Jose. He's not at that. I don't know how to say it. He's playing bumper on the power play, not what he was. He was playing by the boards, kind of quarterbacking it in San Jose, but Lindy moved him to the front of the net just to get those big physical plays. We don't have many other guys that can do that.
And I think once he gets more time on there, really gets comfortable on the power play with the rest of the guys, that will be dangerous.
Yeah, that power play
What
stacked.
it's already Jack, Nico, Dougie, Brett, and now Timo. That just seems like video game lineup unfair. Should not be. Well, I don't care. I'm not complaining. I love it.
When Mercer's not on your power play one, that's saying something.
Yeah. Well, Mercer has been. Well, we'll get to him in a bit.
In a
Way later down this
Oh, yeah.
list. He's somewhere. Well, should be at the top.
He's at the top.
Yep.
Next up, the disappointment himself, Mackenzie Blackwood.
Not at the top.
Oh,
Of
yeah.
the goaltending depth chart and games played. Played a few more games than Schmid. I don't know if that was deserved.
It was not. It was purely based off reputation. He had one good year, 17, 18, I think, and it's just been coasting off that, and he's not done anything. He's been horrendous. I hate to say it, but he's just, like, bad.
Yeah, I honestly hate to see it because I was very fond of Blackwood to start. I mean, he just impressed me right out the gate, was incredible, but a couple injuries stack up. It's tough to bounce back from.
Yeah,
Hopefully he's still got something left in him, but I don't know if he's got any more time with the Devils, really.
he's just, like, I don't know. He's played so bad, he's just getting pushed on the depth chart. I mean, like, we still have Dawes. Like, it's another guy that could get better.
Very true.
He's getting pinched off the lineup, and I say we probably waive him or probably unqualify him as an RFA.
And Bernier's about to get healthy. He's going to come back and tear it up.
I think he's just sitting out the rest of his contract.
No, yeah, clearly. But some people may have forgot Bernier is still Devils property.
Yes, sir. Next up, another guy I'm very high on with 22 games played. Kevin
Balls
Ball.
out.
Sun's out, balls out.
Amen.
Very big. With the little cap space that we do have to re-sign the guys, I do think he's a good replacement for a big guy like Graves. He's gonna grow. He's young. He's massive. His reach is insane, and he's getting to know the system a little bit better. He's making a few good passes, showing a few glimpses of what he can do in the offensive zone too.
He seems comfortable now. I think he's ready for a full-time NHL gig. It's interesting with Luke coming in. Just everybody's kind of getting shuffled around a little bit, but he wasn't meant to be an offensive dynamo. Ball was not, so I don't think it's going to affect him too much. And I think he's definitely got a spot on this roster going forward.
Oh yeah,
I'd like to see him get some serious playoff time. Definitely prefer him over Smith, I would say.
he hits, man.
Mm-hmm.
His
Big
hits
ball.
are huge.
Yeah.
Big ball. He's a wrecking ball.
Miley Cyrus.
Yep.
Oh,
The glue himself.
Nate Bastian.
I did not.
Seattle Kraken legend.
I didn't think he was that pivotal, but when he got hurt, man, we just slid.
You noticed it.
Yeah.
Something was off. I don't know if it was Bastian or what.
Who put
but
this shit together? He's the glue.
Yeah. I've been a big fan of his ever since he started, too. I always loved the story of Mikey and Bastian, super buddies playing together. And honestly, at this point, Bastian is double leapfrogged McLeod, and he's my favorite super buddy.
Oh yeah, favorite wise, but McLeod still has it. We already went over McLeod. Or no, we didn't.
Not quite yet.
Yeah, but his face
I
offs.
think he's up there with Mercer as well, isn't he? Maybe.
McLeod's here for his face offs.
Yeah. But
We'll talk
hey,
about
whatever, if you can do it well enough, you got a spot on the roster, I guess. If
Yeah.
you're that good at face-offs.
Nate Bastian, big dude, a lot of hits. Showing a little bit of creativeness. He's getting a little confident in that offensive zone. Made a few between the leg passes I've seen.
Yeah, nice, but in front of the net presence.
To someone else who can't finish. My favorite player, but
You're definitely solid for the fourth line. I don't see him ever evolving too much beyond that, but if that's what he needs to be, I think he can do that, and he'll fulfill his role and play whatever he needs. Does whatever the coaches need him to do.
need that great guy.
Another similar guy when I'm sad to see go, Fabian Zetterlund.
He had some prowess. I mean, you got to give something up to get something. So, I mean, he kind of played like he was like a Timo Meyer, but worse. I'd say he was a little bit faster, but like he was like Timo Meyer, really really light, but a little bit faster. You know, he was a good middle six guy.
Much more beautiful, though.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't you say? I mean, he's probably the most beautiful guy in the NHL.
And then, yeah, Zetterlund was a good player. I mean, I think he'd eventually get pushed out of the lineup a little bit. He was kind of, he didn't really have a spot, you know. He was kind of there, but he was good.
Yeah, I didn't see him crack in the top six. That fourth line was pretty much solidified. I'd say if we didn't have BMW rolling like it is, he would have been perfect for a fourth
Yeah.
line role. But we got all those fourth line roles filled, and if that's what we had to give up to get Timo, I am 100%
Fine
behind
with
that
it.
trade. More than fine with it.
Andre Palat. We traded, or we didn't trade. Blanking, but
Traded money in the free.
we gave him $6 million
Traded him a lot of money.
for 20 points. I get that he only played 50 games, but
But he's getting more than 20 points in the playoffs.
yeah,
Over under? Would you take that bet?
no.
If we go far,
I could
think
very well
he's
see it
gonna
if we go
be,
far.
maybe not be that prominent on the score sheet, but if we go deep this year, I think Palat will be a big.
He'll have to be lights out if we go deep.
Hmm. He's got by far the most experience on the team. He's
Two
got
cups.
more experience alone than probably everybody else on the team
Yeah.
combined.
So I think he might be the only one that went to a final.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody else
Yeah.
that would have been. So I would have to agree with that.
Definitely the only one that's won a cup.
Twice.
Back to
Doubled
back.
down on it. Hmm.
He was very pivotal in those runs. I really hope he can.
Close to 3.
I hope he can translate that into the doubles game. You know.
So I may have just now realized this, but if they make the finals, it would be Palat's 4th in a row.
Yeah.
Correct?
Pat Maroon type beat.
Oh yeah. At least he's won a couple. Well, Pat has plenty. It's not Corey Perry.
Yeah.
Wah, wah. And then next up on our agenda, our list, our breakdown.
Vitek Vanacek.
VTech.
Good starter. A little inconsistent, but that's to be expected from a guy who's never really had that starting role. He did split time in Washington, but Samsonov was still that 1A guy. So,
I think he'll settle in quite well.
Mhm.
He's impressed me big time. Once he gets that nod, yeah, you're the number one guy.
bang.
Hmm. Hopefully he doesn't get complacent.
Mhm. I think he has a 9/11 off the top of my head. Save percentage-wise, but around that range. Oof.
Doesn't show goalie stats.
That's so dumb. But next,
Oops, bad list.
the Brendan Smith. He is the devil with Blackwood that I am least high on. I love the locker room presence. He's a leader in the locker room, but he's got to be one of the dumbest players I've ever seen.
I don't know about that. But on it, he's playing night to night. Yeah, you see a lot of mistakes. I think he's got the same issue that Damon Severson's got going on. His blunders are very noticeable.
Yeah, got highlighted.
And he doesn't have the offensive side that Damon does. So I think that gives him people give him a little bit of more leniency because he does produce some. Smith had no goals. Not that that was expected of him. He wasn't meant to be a goal scorer. But it's always nice when you can squeak a few through
Oh, yeah.
and help pile on. But he has not done that yet this regular season.
He's bobbled the puck a few times in the defensive zone when they're going like D to D, like regrouping. He's bobbled it, turned it over a few times. I think that's really where he has to improve on this game. I just think he just has to be like more assertive. He can't just like, I don't know how to explain it. He like gets it, but he doesn't know what he's gonna do with it.
Maybe just be a little bit more confident,
Yeah.
a little bit more sure with what you're doing with the
Not too
puck.
nervous.
No.
Get those jitters out.
I say he'd do better than I would.
Oh yeah.
But there's plenty of guys chomping at the bit to get that spot on the roster.
Nemec.
Do you think he's first to go?
Smith? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think he's going to get much playoff time?
Yeah, I don't know. Lindy likes him. Obviously, he got 60 games in, so
Getting up there on the list, getting to the guys that really made a difference
core.
this year. Mm-hmm. So let's carry on. Next we got, I know, you're much higher on this defenseman.
oh yeah.
Want to introduce him?
John Marino, the trade steal himself, the fleece. It doesn't look like it on the score sheet, but his defensive game is better than Jonas Siegenthaler's, in my opinion. And Jonas was known as one of the best defensive defensemen in the league, and John Marino is just that good. When you put him and Siegenthaler out there on like a PK, you're not getting past them. You're not gonna walk them. You're not gonna make a slippery pass through their legs or anything. It's not gonna happen. They're too good.
I'll be honest, I wasn't too familiar with Johnny Hockey's game before he came to Jersey, but I'm very familiar with it now. Very glad we got him, and I was a little bummed to see Ty Smith go. I mean, he wasn't producing, and as much as he had been his rookie year, and figured that was just a sophomore slump, but that kind of carried on. He hasn't really bounced back from that, it doesn't appear, and
He's in the A.
yeah, I miss him as a Devil, but
Jack Hughes
I
misses him
would,
too.
I would take that trade again all day,
Oh, yeah.
100 times over.
You can introduce this next guy.
Jesper B.
He's fast.
Oquist.
He's fast.
hmm Phenomenal Swede. I like him a lot. He's impressed me a lot. I feel like he's grown up a lot over this past season. Hadn't been too noticeable in years prior. I was always a big fan and always pushing for him to break through. I don't think he's ever going to reach that level that I was hoping he would initially, but I think he can be a key player to a strong team, fill in those bottom two lines and provide some more depth.
I really like him when he's playing on that third line with Holla and Palat. That's probably where I like him and his effectiveness the most. He's just so fast. That's what I really noticed.
Yeah, he's got a lot of hustle. He's chasing pucks. He's getting to those dirty
Yeah,
areas.
he works.
I think he's evolved his game a little bit. He realizes he's not going to be a superstar and has to work a little bit harder at the NHL level. And he's done that well. He's settled in, and I think he's going to continue to grow a little bit. I don't think we're going to see much more production from him.
Maybe a few more points here and there, but
Yeah, but he's just not going to get any more opportunity than he will at this point in time, I don't think. We're stacked at center.
he's not overtaking Mercer.
No way, yeah. And so, yeah, he's not even really going to get a crack at the wings. I know
On the
Lindy
top
likes
six.
shuffling guys around, but I think Boquist is very comfortable. I like him a lot at that third line role.
Solid, consistent. He had, how many points did he get? He had 21 points. But I really think he, like, towards the end of the season, he really started to realize that he wasn't going to be that guy, that superstar, and he started to put that work in. He started to grind in those corners, and his production went up as a result.
A guy whose production didn't quite go up.
Love him.
My favorite.
My favorite.
Yegor Sharangovich. Absolutely.
Not my favorite, my second favorite.
But my favorite by far. Man, I've seen a lot of smack thrown around online about him. I don't think it's quite deserved. Last year he was playing with Jack consistently, regularly. He got plenty of opportunities this year on those top two lines, but he wasn't, out of necessity, wasn't needed to be on those top lines. So he got scratched plenty this year.
10 games?
And yeah, I mean, because he only.
Not 10 games.
Well, 75. Okay.
A few.
I don't believe he missed any due to injury.
So 7.
Yeah, but that's still a good chunk of games to be missing due to lack of performance.
What I've really noticed from, in comparison from this year to last year, his finishing. He just can't finish. And, like, I get it's hard to finish on these goalies, but, like, when you're a 20-goal scorer last year, you know how to do it.
You got to get it
Yeah.
done. Yeah. Once you prove to us that you can do it,
There's no going back.
It becomes expected to the fan base, and especially at his age, because he's not anywhere near where he should be starting to decline. He should be.
On the up.
Yep. On the
He
up.
does have 30 points, which isn't too bad. But in the grand scheme of things, you'd like a near 20-goal scorer last year to have a little bit more.
Yeah, if he's gonna be, I mean, he had a good chunk of time on the fourth
Yeah.
line when Mikey was out or Woody was out.
Bastian.
He had all those guys had a little bit of time out. So I guess no, Mikey didn't.
Yeah, he got clipped by Marchand.
Yeah, so I guess yeah, just those 2 games. But
Next up, my favorite player of all time, Miles Wood. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I don't know.
it's up in the back of the net more than he puts it in the back of the net.
He's definitely, 13 goals, 10 assists. Or no. 13 goals, 14 assists for 27 points. in comparison, like you'd like to see Yegor score a lot more than him. Like when you put Yegor's only 3 more points than Miles
Wood
Wood.
and Yegor shouldn't be that close.
No.
You wouldn't think.
The biggest thing about Wood is his hustle, man. That guy's fast. Definitely the fastest on the team. It's him or Boquist.
I'd say Woody all day.
Yeah, he's like a train. He can't stop, he can't turn, but he can skate. So that's a plus. And
Into the back of the net.
he's really good in front of the net. That's where he got most of his goals. With you let Mikey and Bastion work in those corners, stood strong at the front of the net, and puck got to him. I really hope it gets extended. I honestly don't see it happening, but hoping and praying.
I would like it to, just because I'm very high on him as well, just because he's my little bro's favorite player. So it's been following him for quite a few years, and as a Devils fan in general, I follow everybody.
Just got a jersey of him too.
Finally, but better late than never. Hopefully he sticks around. So
Fingers crossed.
and playing just 2 more games than Miles Wood, who had 76 total, which is beautiful to see, by the way, compared to last year. So I'm very grateful that we got plenty of Miles Wood this year. If it does happen to be his last year, at least it was damn near a full year.
I do see him as expendable, really, because with the upcoming of a tall guy like Kevin Ball, who is taller than Graves, I think, by an inch. But I could see Ball developing into a player similar to Graves, but just maybe not as good. But can't have everybody with the salary cap.
No, I definitely think Ball will be the more physical player than Graves, but Graves is not disappointing in the slightest.
It's been pretty solid. He's been consistent. He hasn't shown like stardom, but you don't expect it from a guy. He hasn't like stuck out, but he's consistent. He's rock solid, and he's there.
Yeah, played 78 games this year, so I like the reliability. Yeah, you could count on him night after night.
His goal in Columbus. We were front row for that. That was electric.
One of the greatest goals I have ever seen
If you
live.
look-
Probably the greatest. I was convinced it was going to overtime.
If you actually look at the replay, you can see us jumping, but
Just slightly. I had a different jersey on. I was wearing a Rocky Dougie reverse retro, but we were there.
oh yeah.
Wouldn't miss it. Ohio's biggest Devils fans. Gotta show up and support the team.
Every Columbus game.
We're the Devils. Also, at 78 games. Quite a few more points, though. Most in New Jersey Devils single-season history. Oh, that's why I know that Luke Hughes guy. I think he's this fella's brother.
maybe.
Yeah, Jack Hughes. Okay.
Now I know.
All right. They're related. That's why I know him. I knew that name sounded familiar.
Franchise center. Everyone called him a bust. Shut him up. Like a lot of guys when they're like inconsistent or in controversy, there's so much to say about him, but he's just so good, so consistently like franchise.
When they're saying bust, I think they meant buster of records.
Yeah.
And he's going to do it again. He's going to bust his own record again next year. And the
Crack
year
100.
after that, probably. I definitely see 100 points in
Hell yeah.
in his future. First Devil to ever reach 100. That's exciting. It's something I never really expected as a Devils fan growing up. Elias hit in 96. That
On that
was,
slow system.
I figured that was going to be untouchable. That was before my time as a Devils fan, but I saw Parise get relatively close. Taylor Hall, I thought he may have gotten it, but not quite. And that was MVP season. So that was ridiculous, and still couldn't quite catch up to Patty. But Jack finally did it.
The GOAT. Next up, Jonas Siegenthaler. He's a rock. He's literally just a rock on the defensive zone. Like
Dwayne.
he shuts down on that transition. You're not beating him when you're like skating towards him. I mean, pretty sure I watched him shut down McDavid this year, but it was him or Marino.
I'm probably going to do it again in the finals.
Oh yeah.
That'd be a sight to behold.
Yeah, he's a rock. He's so consistent, reliable, good.
21 points even.
That's a lot more than I was expecting.
That was not something I would have predicted, but I mean he has been playing a lot with Dougie. Again, with Dougie's gonna pick up a few spare points here and there.
He's with Dougie because Dougie can't play defense, but
That is fact. Yeah, I have loved what I've seen from Dusty this year. Haven't seen much defense.
His back
Maybe
check,
that's why.
his back checking is
He back checks
a little bit.
every once in a while, but he scores goals.
Next up, Mikael McLeod. With the potential retirement of Taze, he will become the #1 face-off guy. He was second behind Taze. He's really close to Bergeron, but Bergeron might retire too, so he might be on that podium by himself soon.
Hopefully, if McLeod doesn't retire,
Yeah.
then we have #1 face-off guy. And we also got Heishier behind him too, so they're pretty
solid.
fine in the face-off as well.
Yeah, he's 26 points. He's not really there for production, but he's a role guy. The definition of a role guy.
Yeah, he was first initially drafted in the first round. I thought there may have been some promise for him to be a top 9 forward, middle 6, but he hasn't quite panned out. I think he's settled in very nicely on that fourth center role, but
Yeah. Role guy.
absolutely. Next up on the list is Eric Halla, also playing 80 games. So I think this is a good comparison, McLeod and Halla. You see that I think McLeod's not going to pass Halla. Halla's that third-line center. There's no question that McLeod should ever pass him.
Yeah, and Hall is top 15 in faceoffs too.
Yeah, very incredible. I think and there's going to be a defensive zone draw. You want to win, throw McLeod out there, but for the rest,
Holla.
in just about every category.
I was being pretty rough on Holla early this season because he could not score for the
Worst
life
puck
of him.
luck I
Oh
think I've ever
my!
seen.
So like,
It was nice to see him racking a few at the end of the year there.
whenever I saw him on a breakaway, I just gave up. I was like, this is going in. It's just not. But eventually proved me wrong. He had a pretty good clap on a few games ago.
Oh yeah, that last game. That was. I liked what I saw from him. I was really hoping for that Hattie. That would have been nice to see.
Yep.
Halla Hattie. That would have been.
Holla and Wood really heated up.
Oh, for sure. And I think we're going to need to see that in the playoffs.
A lot.
Everybody firing up all cylinders. And I think we've had everybody streaking at some point to really go deep. I think we're going to need everybody clicking at the same time and consistently for the whole playoffs.
If you want to beat the Rags.
No days off.
Next up, Damon Severson. I am one of the few Severson supporters, but
Seaver sexual.
I mean, 94% wins over replacement that's not luck. I mean, obviously, he's known for his blunders, but
Definitely known for his blunders. He's been known to have a few. And those stretch passes. Those are a thing of beauty.
that's an X factor right there. It's an X factor in shell. But he's just away from the puck. He's just so good. He gets in the lane, and he's invisible when he does the right thing because he's doing the right thing. People only notice it when he screws up. And then Twitter rant about how Severson needs to be traded. But when you have 94% wins over replacement, you're a good player.
That's a good assessment. I think when you're doing the good, simple things, it's not quite flashy. It almost goes unnoticed because it's just you're doing your part, you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, and his stretch passes, like Drew said, it's disgusting. He's so good at that.
Yeah, it's the first couple times I thought, oh wow, that's kind of a fluky pass, but no, at this point he's got that down. That's it's an X factor.
Luke's been doing it too.
Yeah, only 2 games in, and man, I think he's gonna clearly blow past Severson. They're
Out
not
the
even
water.
on the same level, but they're probably at similar levels defensively, offensively at this point in time. I'd already put Luke as a more offensively dynamic player than Severson.
I'd say Severson's a little bit better on the own end though.
Oh yeah, I mean he's got the experience.
Yeah.
So I'd be kind of upset if after all these years, after only 2 games, Luke Hughes came in and
Pushed him out.
yeah,
I mean, like,
it's only a matter of
his
time.
contract is expiring, but I think we should re-sign him, A, for his performance and how good he is, in my opinion. Also, to respect it, like, he's the longest tenured Devil, and just, like, don't want to let him walk. It's not a very good look.
No, but it's
It's the business.
something that's clearly done around the league. Jonathan Tays,
Quick.
Yeah, I mean, there's no loyalty these days. It's if you ain't performing,
Then you're out.
getting it done on the chopping block.
Oh, yeah.
Boom.
Next up, my jersey's sake, the captain, Nico Hischier. He's really shown that why he was drafted first. I mean, like, he was drafted as a two-way center, point per game guy, and that's exactly what he is. I'd think he'd be 88 points maybe if we put him out there in a big offensive area, but we put Jack out there.
Had him in Jack's role.
Yeah. If we had Nico in Jack's role, if Jack didn't exist, Nico would be producing.
Pushing 90
Yeah.
points potentially, yeah.
But even in his slightly more defensive role, he's put up 80 points, pretty much point per game. I'm going to say point per game because it sounds better. But, yeah, I just think he's very underrated. He's like a Nick Suzuki, but better.
I'd love to see the durability this season,
Oh, yeah.
too. I think that was something that was talked about becoming a concern. It wasn't quite yet for me, but I know people always have those conversations after seeing what happened with Crosby. He still has
Injury
a
problem.
phenomenal career, but it definitely was hindered a little bit at
Yeah.
the beginning. And I think that was a concern with Nico, but at this point, to me, he has proven he is a consistent, reliable, he's showing up for you every night kind of guy.
He's blocked some shots. He's put his body on the line. And he's very good in his defensive zone. He's kind of like Severson. He's invisible in the defensive zone because he's doing what he's supposed to do. Okay. Next up, Thomas Tatar. 40 points, very underrated. His WAR chart is very good.
Very good.
Very good. It's very good.
Very good.
It's very good.
Very good.
I just think he's very underrated, and according to some interviews, he's the life of the locker room, and I really think that's important. I really think after we sign Timo and Bratt, which are obviously the two priorities, I think number one on our re-sign list is him and Severson. I'd say we'd maybe let Gravy go because every team Gravy leaves, they win a cup. So, and Blackwood just kind of doesn't fit anymore.
Yeah, if we don't win this year, we gotta let Gravy go.
Yeah,
Just so we can get the cup next year. It's just
just not worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really hope
sacrifice.
he's re-signed to a great locker room presence. I'm worried about his playoffs though, because when he was with Montreal and Vegas, he got to the playoffs, got a few games, didn't do shit, scratched rest of the playoffs.
Hopefully that's not the case.
Oh, yeah.
I think if he can go off this year, that'll be huge because it'll take a little bit of pressure off of the young guys who they're not going to be ready for the playoff stuff right off the bat. I think they'll ease into it and they'll be fine. I don't think I've got any major concerns this year about the lack of playoff depth because we do have the guys like Tatar and Holla and Palat. We filled in.
Vanacek even.
Yeah. So the fellas drafted by the Devils who don't have any playoff experience, I think they'll be carried in and guided by these
Those
other
guys, yeah.
quite nicely. But it would definitely be nice if they could chip in a few because we can't rely on just Jack and Bratt and Timo to
Do all the
fill in
scoring.
that.
Yeah.
Nope.
And he has 82 games played, so one of the 4 Devils to have 82.
Very impressive.
And the Iron Man, Dawson Mercer, is up next. The breakout player. If there was an award for breakout player, he'd win it, in my opinion. He was very good this year. He started out like how he was last year, and then he just started a 13-game winning streak. He went off. He had like a 11-game goal streak.
Yeah, I think he was a big part of that streak.
Oh, yeah, for
I
sure.
mean, wouldn't have had those 13 games without him, I don't believe. And I was a little worried he was going to have the same kind of year as Smith, where it's going to be a little bit of a down year. And it's always tough to put up another good year after having a great rookie year.
Yeah.
Not everybody can do it, but man, he blew away my expectations.
Oh, yeah.
And at this point, I mean, he's got a couple Devils records, and Hopefully he sticks around for a while and
Oh yeah,
pile onto those.
56 points doesn't do him justice. He was very noticeable, and he's not bad on defense. He's average on defense, which is acceptable.
I think he does just about everything
Mhm.
average to above average. I don't think there's any one thing that he blows you away at.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Absolutely. And another 82 game guy.
Really?
Yeah, it kind of. I just think after having been scratched a few times in seasons prior, it's a little surprising to me that he played all 82. But
Just for
he
Brad.
did not deserve to be scratched at any point this season. He's gonna get that contract.
Oh,
It's gonna
for
be
sure.
something big, whether he gets it with the Devils or
His
elsewhere.
agent is so annoying too.
He's getting paid.
Yeah, that Jesper Bratt. I mean, he didn't have his yearly scratch, which is a good thing. He's been really dynamic, and he really gives that dynamacy that Hughes gives, but not on the wing. And you don't want to throw him with Hughes because then you just have two playmakers, and that just doesn't work. We've tried it before; it doesn't work. So put Jack on one line, Brad on the other, and bam.
You've always got a shifty guy out there that can just make something out of nothing.
I love Brett's little mohawk move where he like fakes the turn back and then he just like mohawks. Did it against Pareko last season. It was filthy.
Yeah, he definitely does it often. Does it damn
Well,
well.
yeah. I think it's starting to catch up with him because film. I've seen a lot of guys anticipate it, but
But hopefully it's something we can see from him in a Devils jersey for
Time
plenty
to
of years
come.
to come.
Yeah.
It's not going to be another one-year deal, I wouldn't think.
No, that was a
This,
prove.
this is he's going to be a Devil for a while or not going to be a Devil.
This deal was a prove it deal because you don't want to sign some guy that had one good season. I mean, we've seen that happen so many times. It didn't work. I mean, obviously, like guys fall off all the time. I mean, look at Huberto. He fell off. Kadri did. Everyone that got sent to Calgary fell off. I think that's says something to say about Daryl Sutter, but that's another podcast. Moving on to the last player on this list. The Norris contender himself, I'd say he'd have it if Erik Karlsson didn't exist, but
Yeah,
Dougie
that
Hamilton.
season came out of nowhere.
Yeah. I thought he was washed.
But also this season kind of came out of nowhere from Dougie Hamilton.
Yeah.
That blew me away big time.
He's given us every cent of that contract back in performance, you know?
Absolutely.
74 points as a defenseman is wild. 52 assists, 22 goals, plus 50. It's phenomenal. I mean, obviously his defense isn't what you'd expect, but I'd gladly have a 74-point defenseman that doesn't play defense.
Yeah, to me, he almost seems more just like a fourth forward,
Yeah.
playing a little further back.
Power play is a menace with him. Great quarterback.
His blast from the point.
my
That
God.
was something I don't know. I didn't think he had that in him.
His shot.
Maybe, I don't know. I've been sleeping on him a little bit before he came to the Devils, but you can't miss it nowadays.
Yeah, no.
When he is on the ice, he is a threat.
Like, you can't, like... I would like to see him get a little bit smarter when it comes to pinching, but I can't really complain. I mean, his reach is massive, so that does help him out a little bit.
And it is nice playing him with Siegenthaler. It gives me
Yeah,
a
it
little
gives
bit
him
more
a cushion.
comfort.
Yeah. If we had Dougie and...
Hughes.
I mean, we did do that a few times in the last game of the season. I was pretty nervous with that, but it's an offensive powerhouse.
We needed goals in that situation.
Yeah.
Lots of them. And they got them 4 in a row.
Yeah,
So, is that?
after
That
that,
covers everybody.
pretty good season.
On the ice, I would like to cover Lindy Ruff on the bench.
Maybe
I
some...
mean, the coaching staff this year,
Good.
incredible. Yeah, I mean, greatest point turnaround in NHL history. And I think the players are always going to get remembered
Credit,
for
yeah.
that, but it is important to call out the coaches.
Mhm.
I mean, they had some big time hires this offseason, and I think Fitzy made the right call on all of them.
I mean, like...
Burnett got a DUI, but I mean, it was on a golf,
was a golf
cart,
cart, yeah.
so whatever.
I mean, Brylan really brings that experience. He won a cup with the Devils. He's gone in the playoffs with the
Couple.
Devils. Yeah, so he can really teach the guys what it's like. Lindy played for quite a long time too, and he will be a Jack Adams finalist this year. Maybe win it. Depends how much they give credit to Jim Montgomery for the Bruins. But And we have another Jack Adams finalist as an assistant coach with Andrew Burnett. I do think the coaching staff really did good with developing the guys and turning them around. With 49-point turnaround, it's got to be doing something right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's nice to see that the core of the team is signed for the next few years, so I'm not too worried about the future. I would say this is the most comfortable I've ever been as a Devils fan.
Oh, yeah. There's also, we could also do a quick cover of a few prospects, maybe?
Yeah, there's plenty of them out there. Would you like to start with the boys in Michigan? Still left in Michigan?
Yeah.
Luke ran away, couldn't finish college, wasn't smart enough, so had to play hockey.
Seamus Casey, his edges. That's what I've really noticed, his edges and his elusiveness. He's like a Jesper Bratt that plays defense. I do think he's a little bit more inclined to the offensive game than the defensive. But he can hold his own in the D zone.
Oh, absolutely. And, I mean, he's got a few more years in NCAA probably, but it is exciting to have a guy like that in the pipeline.
Oh, yeah. And there's also Ethan Edwards, a little bit more physical guy. Not as much upside as Seamus, but could very well be a seventh D-man for us later down the line.
Mm-hmm. It was quite nice having 3 Devils prospects on one team this past season. Made it very easy to keep track of them all.
We can't talk about Mukabadulin anymore.
No.
But,
Gonna miss that name.
Yeah. I still can't spell it. Moving to offense. Holtz. We already talked about Holtz. Graham Clark.
I was really hoping he would get a crack at the NHL a couple games this year.
He got called up, didn't he?
Did we cover him?
He got called up. He didn't play.
Okay. Yeah. That rings a bell. That sounds about right.
And he's good, man. If Woody walks, I know I said it was Foot's thing. I still think it is Foot's spot. But someone gets injured.
Clark could definitely push for it.
Yeah. He's
and
good.
He tore it up in Utica this year.
Yeah.
I'd say he's got more goal-scoring prowess at this point than Foot does.
Mm-hmm. The shot is still in Foot's favor, I'd say, though.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I would say the shot's in Holt's favor, even. And what's he done with it? You got to get to those open spots.
Yeah.
Like, the shot's only going to do you so much.
For finishing.
You got to have more than just one aspect to be a good NHL player.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of shooting, a guy that doesn't get a lot of coverage, Artemi Gritsuk.
Mm-hmm. He should hopefully be getting some more coverage if he does come to the U.S. It sounds like he should be.
Yeah, he's blowing it up in the KHL. They look at him in the KHL as a young guy, like a young up-and-coming guy, and he is that. I mean, he had a beautiful Michigan in like an all-star competition. That was nice. I don't know too much about him because he's Russian and all, but I just know he's good and he's young and he has a really good rip.
Yeah. I don't know any more or any less.
Yeah. He's smaller too. He's not too big. Josh Strillman.
He's been exciting too.
Yeah, I came out of nowhere. I've never heard of him, but he's been doing good in Utica. I don't know too much about him because I've known about him for like a week, but seems pretty good. His first goal was yucky. It's another dude. I know, I'm forgetting someone. Crap. Riley Walsh. Not sure if
Young
he's
Guns
much of a
just
prospect
came out.
anymore. Yeah.
Got to get one of those.
I think he's a career AHLer. I don't see him. Ball is already better than him. And then we have Casey and Edwards coming up.
Yeah, might need a change of scenery. But yeah, it's going to be tough for him to get a serious crack at the NHL with the Devils at this point in time.
And the final prospect, Chase Stillman.
Is he still a prospect?
He's like 24 and he's playing in the WHL. I mean, or he's as old as Mercer or Mukumadon. Mukumadon's like 22. Yeah, so he hasn't really moved on from juniors. I don't see him doing too much. I like his personality, but if he can't get the talent up, then just not gonna get a crack. Personality won't get you all this way. So.
Agreed.
That's my area of expertise. I know a lot about prospects.
Well, thank you all very much for following our coverage of the Devils season recap and covering a few prospects. And hopefully next time you see us, the playoff beard will be a little more
little
filled
longer.
in.
I don't really
Yeah,
have one yet.
you might get one. Who knows? Hell, playoff times. Anything
Anything
can
can
happen
happen.
in Jersey.